My name is Martin Bennett, and I'm the Adult Services Librarian with the Rita and Trotty Library. Through the next few minutes, I want to share some resources that you can use when researching, writing, and reviewing your resume and cover letter. Your resume and cover letter tells a potential employer a story about who you are. Writing a resume and cover letter is an opportunity to tell your employer about how you're the one for their organization. It's important to be honest and clear. You want to create a resume that shows your best self, but that avoids gimmicky visuals and tables. So, how do we start? When I'm creating a resume and cover letter, my first step is to research. It's less about finding the right template. It's not about finding the exact resume that I can just steal or that I can use and just put in my information. It's more about discovering the elements or the components of resumes and cover letters I like that I can maybe borrow or adapt. So for starters, I'm going to decide what kind of resume I want to make. If I had continued employment, I may want to create a chronological resume that focuses on my employment history. If I've worked the same job through a period of time, then I want to be able to highlight the length of time I've dedicated to working this job. So might make a job resume like this, where I've got a chronological resume where I start from the present and work my way back, explaining, sharing what I've done, and kind of walk through each employer and talk about what I've done. We'll get a little more into detail on this in a minute here, but that's what a chronological resume would look like. Now, let's say I have maybe employment gaps, or let's say I'm thinking about transitioning into a new kind of job that may be similar to what I've done in the past, but isn't quite the same. If I've worked as a server in a restaurant, for instance, but I want to transition to customer call center job, then what I really want to highlight is skills that are related to that customer service or that call center job. Even though I've worked as a server as a restaurant, I absolutely have customer service experience. You want to do what's called a functional resume. So this is a functional resume example, just to kind of share a visual of what to expect when you start searching these terms. So this is a functional resume. So rather than highlight the specific employment history, they do have employment history down here, but what they're really highlighting are specific skills. If I'm a server that's trying to transition to a call center job, I'm highlighting my customer service experience. I'm going to be highlighting my experience maybe handling money. If I've been a supervisor, if I've had to train people, I want to highlight that. Team leadership, those are very important skills that, while not exactly originating from the job I'm applying for, are going to translate to this new job. So that's where a functional resume may come into play. You think about what kind of format do you want to do. So when I'm researching, I'm going to start off by making that decision. I want to do a functional resume. I'm going to do a chronological resume. I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking about what kind of job do I want to look for. Most of us are going to probably use Google search to find a resume. We're probably going to just do like this. So knowing what format you want to do, that's going to be helpful. You can use, say, chronological childcare resume. You want to choose, the right keywords to kind of bring up more precise results when you do use Google. If you choose to use Google, this is how you would, maybe do that. So chronological childcare resume. Let's say you're wanting to go into childcare, you have experience in childcare. Maybe there's a job opening you want to go into. So you want to use this to kind of find resume examples. So I can, look up the results I have. This is just one way you can do that. Like I said, when you're doing research, what you're doing, like I said, you're thinking about what are resumes like, the format I want to use, and then what kind of jobs am I looking for. So that's what you're using to sort of find different resumes. And I don't think there's anything wrong with using Google search, as long as you're using it as just another tool to find specific words, specific language that you can use. Like I said, you're not necessarily looking for exact templates. You don't necessarily need to copy a resume as is, but maybe you want to adapt it. Now, what else can I use besides Google? So if you go to DeKalbLibrary.org, we have several resources you can use. We're going to talk about a few of them. If you go to research databases at the top right, we have a jobs and careers category. So I'll scroll down, I'll see this under jump to on the left, click this, and this will give me several resources I can use for job and resume. Something else I can also use is when it comes to, say, ebooks and e-audiobooks. I may start here when I'm doing research. I may look, the reason I want to do that is I want to find resume books. Why would you use this over Google search? These tend to give you a little more breadth, gives you a little more detail, gives you a little more information about keywords that are going to be useful and necessary when you're applying for a job. Applying for a job is no longer dropping a resume off to an HR representative in person. It's oftentimes we have to go through a digital interface. We have to go through a website. These websites are going to be looking at your resume for a specific format, such as docx, PDF. They're looking for specific keywords and specific languages that they can use. Their algorithm is trained to do that. So many employers are using these digital algorithms to filter resumes, filter cover letters by these keywords. It's important to to review as much information that you can during this research phase so that you can use the right keywords to help your resume stand out and pass through. So I'm going to go in where the ebooks and the audiobooks are because I'm going to find some resume books. So the first resource I want to talk about, and the main one, is Hoopla. And the reason I want to emphasize Hoopla, if you have a library card, Hoopla is now free for you. And I've already logged in, so when you do, so using Hoopla, you'll if you don't have a login already created, so once you get to Hoopla, you'll go to the Get Started Today, and then you'll just put in your information, your email, password, and that'll help you get started here. Now, once you're into Hoopla, the benefit of this resource and the reason I'm emphasizing it during research is because with other ebook resources, we have to purchase digital copies. There's going to be limits. You don't want to have to wait and hold if you've got a job that you're wanting to apply for soon. What I would recommend then is I would recommend using Hoopla because there's no limits to each item. You do have 5 books you can check out at a given time. But once you find the item that you want to check out, then you're pretty good. So let's say I'm doing cover letters. I'm going to type in cover letters under this everything, but you can choose particular things, so ebooks, audiobooks, etc. I'm just going to type in cover letters everything, just see what it brings up. And so right here, I see these resources that I might be able to use. Resumes and cover letters for military to civilian career transitions, how to write a successful cover letter. All these are resources that I can check out. So I might choose this knock 'em dead cover letters. As I said, you get 5 checkouts. I'm going to go here to borrow title. And then when I come up here to my Hoopla under currently borrowed, I see right here, there it is. And I can start going into here into the resumes or the cover letters. I just click this play button here, and I'm going to get a window where I can start looking through this book. Now, I don't want to maybe go through all the book. I'm just looking for specific things. If I'm applying for a childcare job, I want to try to find information that will help me kind of understand how to make the cover letter stand out. But I also want to find, something more specific to me. So this will talk about how an employer is going to look at this. But I might skip around here. So what I did is I went to this table of contents icon here. And I'm going to I'm going to skip around to elements of a great cover letter. And it's going to give me information that I might need about differences between electronic and print cover letters. If the page looks too small for you, you can go up here to this T, you can increase the font size. And see, now it's a little easier to read. So this will go into detail about what you're gonna need and everything. So this is something that you can use, uh, and there's also gonna have out sample letters. I definitely recommend this for everyone. I really especially recommend this for someone who's maybe has an employment gap or hasn't recently applied for jobs or had to work, who's returning to work. I definitely think this is a good resource to doing this in addition to Google search and just looking up what other websites and other blogs say. I think this one is going to be a little more authoritative. So use this refresher to that experience. But even if you have applied for jobs recently, even if you aren't returning to the job market, if you've been integrated in the job market and you're just looking to move up, I still recommend using this so that you can look at the breadth of sample letters, for instance. Like I said, when you're writing your resume cover letter, you're using these components, you're adapting them to your own uses. Looking at them, looking at these are going to be useful. Now, after Hoopla, there's still more resources you have with your library. I'm going to go back here to DeKalbLibrary.org, research databases here. Under ebooks and e-audiobooks, you can also use Overdrive, where you can find, resumes and cover letters. So we do have other resume books. Like I said, though, these are digital copies we've purchased, so there's a chance there may be a wait list and you'll have to place a hold on them. If it does say available, just sign in with your library card and PIN number, and you'll be able to borrow the book. Other resource that I would recommend, if you go to jobs and careers, lynda.com. If you go to lynda.com, if you go to lynda.com here, there's actually, if you type in cover letter, so I mean, it'll bring up some programs, some classes that you can actually take. Then you can, watch some videos. So now that you've finished research, the next step is probably the biggest challenge: writing out the resume, writing out the cover letter. It's easier said than done to open up Microsoft Word or Google Docs and start writing. If I open up this blank Google Doc page, it's easy to fall back on difficult templates that are sometimes too complicated. Templates are something we might be able to use because we just want to get a resume done. Template is easier. There's nothing wrong with templates as long as they're flexible to any changes you wish to make. And they're relatively simple. I know a lot of resume templates use these complicated tables that make it more of a challenge to edit. You want to try to use simple templates, either using whatever word processing document program you're using, whether it's Pages on Apple computers, whether it's Microsoft Word on Windows computers or any computers, or it's Google Docs using your Google account, your Gmail account. I'm using Google Docs. And with Google Docs, I know that Google Docs offers several templates here. Resource list that you'll have after this program, I'll have a link directly to that. But if you just, use Google search, Google Docs templates, you'll be able to bring it up. I logged into my Gmail so that I'm already logged into Google. I'm already logged into Google Drive. I can just start off by getting a resume. So like with this resume, I could go ahead and start just filling in my details. So it gives you the formatting and the fonts that are for this resume. You want to highlight and just put in your name. And then maybe put in your contact information. Like I said, you want a template to be able to adapt to it. I may not put my address on here, but I'm going to put my phone number and my email in here. And then I'll start putting in skills. I'll put in company name. So I might go in here, December 2015. This is a chronological resume. And so what I would do is I would probably put in, with each job, put in, maybe 3 or 4 highlights of accomplishments, things I've done that have been successful. So that's how I can use that template like I said, make it adapt to me and what I want it to look like. And what I like about this Google Doc in particular is it automatically saves. So it automatically saves, and then if I go to a job employer's website and they want it in a docx format, the Microsoft Word format, or a PDF, once I finish it, I could go to File, Download, Microsoft Word, PDF. It automatically saves to my Google Drive, and then all I got to do is go to File, Download, Microsoft Word, PDF, and I'll get that resume downloaded here. See, there it is. And then I could go in here and just make it into something new. So I can do Martin Bennett resume. So that's the benefit of a template, is that you can do that. Now, the drawback of a template, a lot of employers are probably seeing the same template that you're using elsewhere. Not necessarily, like I said, not necessarily going to be something that takes you away from the job. But if you want something more unique, then you do have to go in to a blank document and start doing your best to write out a template using your formatting and so forth. Now, you've done research. You've found the things that you've liked. So now you can start writing out your resume. So when you're creating your own resume, so let's say I found a resume that has very bold name at the top, has phone number, email, has a horizontal line separating the rest of the employment history, the skills. And what I might do is I might type in my name, phone number, and email, and then I'll go to Insert, Horizontal Line, and then I can start putting in and then start putting in more details. Now, a resource that I may use while I'm doing this, I might go to research databases here, go to jobs and careers, and I'll go to Learning Express Library. Learning Express Library is a really great resource for those that are new. So all you got to do is go into sign in and register. So if you're new, you would do register. Once you've signed in, under centers, you have career prep. This is a great resource to figure out, a lot of different things. And you'll see this in the next few segments here. I'm going to go into build resumes and job letters here. So that's Centers, Job Career Accelerator, Centers, Job Career Accelerator, build resumes and job letters. Once I do that, I can go here, build resumes and job letters. And you have these different tools. So I'm going to launch Career Tool. And so right here, you can create a new resume, or upload and edit an existing resume. I want to create one. And then all you got to do is just fill in the blanks. Sort of like a template, but you'll be able to have it all sort of filled in for you by just kind of walking through. You don't have to highlight and do all that stuff. And then right here, you can choose your work situation here. So resource that you have right in front of you. You can also go to Letter Builder. And so this is where you can create a new letter. I want to create a new letter, or maybe I want to upload and edit an existing letter. But right here, you'll start right here. Let's create a letter from scratch, start building my letter. So I'm going to put a name. So this is a cover letter. And then I'm going to start creating a letter from scratch here. And then it'll kind of give you the same sort of word formatting that you get from a Google Docs. And so, but it also gives you this keyword list here. Gives you action words that you can use. So let's say I'm writing a cover letter for, let's say I'm doing childcare, so I want to share some of my teaching skills. And see, it gives you these really useful keywords that you can use when creating your resume, creating your cover letter. These are words that will kind of help you stand out a little more when you're trying to get through that job filter. So when you're writing your letter, that's what you can use. So you've got, if you've researched cover letters, You found some cover letters in the Knock 'em Dead cover letters book you've checked out from Hoopla. You've looked on Google search and Bing, and you found some cover letters that other people have used related to childcare. Now you can kind of start making your own. Like I said, you're adapting this to make your own. And I may even, and like I said, you can still just go to browse all sample letters. So this will give you some sample letters that you can use. And it'll give you some examples here. So mid-level job seeker, recent college grad, intern. It gives you some context about why this cover letter is a strong letter. And then it kind of walks you through what you need to have. So from here, you can kind of figure out how to do this. You can use this sample letter. And then all of a sudden, you can kind of do like what we were showing with the templates. You can just highlight and do that here. So, let's say you would put in your name, Martin Bennett, address here. And then you'll start putting in, say, whoever you're writing the letter to, if it's the human sources director, um, the person that you believe is going to be your boss. If you don't know the name of the person, or if it's not on the job application or job description, and you can't find it on, say, like a website, typically if you go to like a organization's website, look for their HR person or their HR director. That's who's going to probably be looking at your resumes first. If you can't find it, just put in the employer, and then put in, say, dear, employer's name. So once you finish, go to preview letter so you can see what the letter looks like. And then what you can do is you can go here to this download button, download letter, and then you can download it on the computer. And select file type, use PDF, Word, rich text, and then you'll be able to save it to your computer. You can also just email it directly from here. So that's all stuff that you have access to with your library card. So like I said, you can do it on a blank, start with a blank canvas here. You can also use this blank canvas so that you have access to that keyword list. You can do, there's no one way to do this. I may bring this up and just use so I can have the access to this keyword list, research skills, so that when I'm doing this and I start doing my skills portion, I can go in here and type, say, reviewed experience in. So that's just, like I said, that's an example of what you can do when you're writing your resume. So the last stage is review. So once you finish writing your resume, I've finished writing my resume. I'm going to go to File, Download PDF. There it is right there. Now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go to research databases on the DeKalb Library website, go back to the jobs and careers, and I'm going to go to Help Now from BrainFuse. So I'm going to go to Help Now from BrainFuse. Help Now from BrainFuse has a lot of resources that you can use. So the first one, you do want to make sure that you've registered, create an account through the library. You get a library card number and PIN number you need to use. Make sure you do that. So there's a few things that I like. One is Writing Lab. So from here, I can upload a file. So I can upload that resume that I've created here. And I can have it submitted, and they will send me results. So someone who's an expert writer, who's a professional writing tutor, will send me advice about what I've written. This is really useful for cover letters. When you're writing a cover letter, you can upload your cover letter and have them review it. The other thing, if you go to adult learners here, you can find writing resume. So folks will be able to actually help you craft a resume. This includes some online resources you can use, a lot of templates that we've, similar to what we've gone over. But let's say I've created a resume, you can upload this resume and they'll give you an edited resume in 24 hours, or you can get live help from a brain freeze online instructor. So get live brain freeze. So between 2 p.m. to 2 p.m. to 11 p.m., you'll be able to get live resume help. So you'll be able to actually have someone who can help you with your resume. That's something you get with your library card at no charge. So these three things: online resources, get someone to review your resume, or to get live resume help, all available to you through your library card. But using the resources that you have through your DeKalb library card, you can find the necessary resources to research how you want your resume to look and how you want to write your cover letter. You can have resources that will help you write your resume and your cover letter, and you have resources that you can use to review and edit your resume and cover letter so that you'll stand out for an employer, and you'll be able to share what you're going to be able to provide for any organization.